Windy City Heat is one of the most underrated comedies ever produced. Why, you ask? Well, the beauty of it is that it takes a completely gullible buffoon, Perry, and strings him along thinking he's the big star in a fake movie. Is it a cruel, heartless joke? Yes. That's the beauty of it. Now, this movie accomplishes quite a bit, though. It's the culmination of a years long prank on Perry. One of the producers of it was Jimmy Kimmel, back when he was funny and before he bent the knee and turned into a little bitch. Dane Cook is also briefly in it. And this movie did something that has never happened before or since. It had Dane Cook, the least funny, no talent hack I've ever seen, actually do something that made me laugh.
Hi, thanks for coming in for the lead role in Windy City Heat. I'm sure you know our director.
Hey, Bob. Good seeing you.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Good to see you. Can I shake your hand?
Oh, yeah, pleasure. Just getting over a little poison oak here.
Okay. Oh,
Ray, welcome
good seeing
back.
you.
How are things?
You don't want to shake my hand.
I'm getting over this virus.
Now, to a lot of people, the idea of being able to pull off this prank to a degree like this may seem to be a bit of a stretch. Surely nobody is that oblivious or gullible to buy into this for that long. Logical thinking. I would have been inclined to agree with that. But I had a friend back in the day that we referred to as the Wombat, and Wombat and Perry were cut from the same cloth. Now, the Wombat wasn't an egotistical clown like Perry,
I'm like a young Marlon Brando.
but we could definitely get him riled up and get him to follow our lead in any situation. And we pulled many a prank on the Wombat. Obviously, not to this extent, but it is something that could have been done. We put Wombat in some precarious situations. Do I feel bad about that? No, it was funny. And no wombats were harmed in the making of said pranks. It was all in good fun. And I think that's what has always endeared me to this movie. I could always picture Wombat in Perry's shoes and us as the jackasses pulling his strings for our amusement. The difference between Wombat and Perry is that Perry's kind of a prick. He has an unwarranted massive ego, constantly loses his temper. There's a couple points in the movie where if you close your eyes and just listen, you would think you're listening to Steven Seagal, and that ain't meant to be a compliment. Perry even refers to himself as the next Seagal at one point.
Compare myself to a Steven Seagal because I have a Steven Seagal smoothness.
So the movie begins on one of the final days of shooting the fictitious Windy City Heat. Bobcat Goldthwait is the director. Perry is monologuing in front of a green screen, completely overacting and doing way too much. He's like a first grader trying to interpret Shakespeare. Even Bobcat has a dejected look on his face, and of course, he's in on the whole thing. And Bobcat does a great job in this too. This came out in 2003, and I think that was the first time I ever saw him outside of his Bobcat character. Afterwards, we see Perry and Don, one of the guys who's been fucking with Perry for years, in the back of a car headed towards Perry's audition. Don is hyping up Perry, and Perry basically believes this role was his without question. And he's told there's going to be cameras everywhere for behind the scenes stuff for the DVD. And Perry acts like he's taking it in stride. But if you really watch him, you can tell he's about to burst. He's so thrilled at the prospect of becoming famous.
Anything to be an actor, anything to be a star. A star more than an actor.
When we get to the audition, the receptionist recognizes Don from a screen test. We find out her name is Susan B. Anthony. One of the genius running gags of this film is giving characters famous names, to which Perry is completely oblivious to. Now, Susan has a wonderful rack, and Perry makes sure to acknowledge Miss Anthony and her beauty. She pretty much ignores him. And then here's where Mole makes his first appearance. He's played by Tony Barbieri to perfection. Again, he's part of the crew that's been fucking with Perry for years. But in this instance, Barbieri has been playing his Mole character on Perry the whole time. He's basically a stoner fuck up who always pisses Perry off.
Mole's been doing drugs since he was a baby.
Perry knows Mole is a shithead, and I don't think Perry has ever really liked him, but he tolerates his presence. And they show the footage of Mole pissing Perry off over the years, and it is glorious. It's amazing that he has been able to stay in character on Perry for all these years. So there's no need to really go over the movie scene by scene. You do know something is great when you can recall so many memorable moments. The first shot they do involves Perry getting thrown in a dumpster. He's not thrilled about this, especially after they shovel some more shit on him, and he ultimately demands a stunt double after Don explains that he can do this. Payoff to this is when Perry misses out on banging Susan in a later scene because that's considered a stunt. As much shit as Don gives him for requesting his stunt double, Perry's more preoccupied with taking a shit after drinking a concoction of all sorts of stuff that would give a normal human the runs, let alone Perry, who is lactose intolerant. Now, the hardest I may have ever laughed at a movie scene, though, is when Perry is assigned to guard the snack table that is going to be presented to the financier of the film, Hiroshima Nagasaki. Again, the name of this guy goes directly over the head of Perry, but he is determined not to let anything happen to this table. If something does happen, it's the ultimate sign of disrespect, and the movie may get halted. Of course, Mole, he walks by and totally destroys the table. Perry takes the heat for it, the movie's canceled, and you get to see in real time Perry lose his fucking mind and go after Mole.
The investor of the film is coming, you know, and I forget the investor's name.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki. To Japan, they lay out sushi and things like that.
Yeah.
So here, we've laid out like American snack foods and stuff.
And the money man is extremely important. And if this table is touched, we might get fucked. Hey,
Whoa.
do not
birthday?
Do not touch the table. Listen to me, please listen to me. I was instructed
Boring.
to not
Can I
allow,
tell you one thing? Let go.
I was,
Let go.
I was
Can I
instructed
tell you
to
one
not
thing,
allow you to have anything on the table because the money man for this movie is coming. The best
I
way
didn't even want it.
to impress him is to show him this beautiful table.
One moon pie. One moon. Oh no. What happened? Oh, Harry knocked over the table. What?
Barry,
Harry! No, what happened?
I'm gonna kill the son of a bitch! I told him to stay the fuck away from the table. You let him smoke pot. I told him to stay the fuck away.
This is outrage! I put out all money! The movie is over!
It's your fucking fault, you son of a bitch!
Stop! Don't be crazy, man. Harry, come on.
This is something here I would point out to anyone that thinks this whole thing was faked. That reaction was as real as it gets. De Niro in his fucking prime couldn't give that type of performance. And the first time I saw this, I damn near pissed my pants. And that's what makes this so damn underappreciated. This was a legit, elaborate, perfectly executed prank. Perry was the perfect foil. They splice in real home video footage of this guy over the years being a nut job. It's real. Perry is far too real. And his reactions being put in all kinds of situations is real. And it's real fucking funny. At least it is to a guy like me, who enjoys seeing humor at the expense of others. Especially to a guy who isn't exactly salt of the earth. Apparently this only aired once on Comedy Central. The ratings were awful, never aired again. However, due to DVDs and streaming, it did end up getting a cult following. Chances are if you've seen this movie, you've seen it more than once and laughed every time. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and make time to watch this. A movie can stick with you if it has memorable scenes and characters. Perry is a character that, for better or worse, will stick with you. All right, I gotta go. The old lady wants me to meet the new guy they hired at her work. She always gets a weird look in her eye when she tells me about this dude.
I didn't do nothing but let him suck my dick and jerk him off. That was it.